All right, so everyone, welcome. This is our first of many roundtable discussions with Odos, where we get a chance to meet those who are definitely making a difference in various aspects of the creative industries, right? And they're always going to be from different parts of the globe, but they have a connection somehow to the islands. And in this case, I have, several of my peers who are very well established in this field and people I'm very proud of. So I just wanted to introduce, each one. And I'm not sure how they're gonna show on my screen. Are they all coming in at the same time, Marcus, or you bringing them in one at a time? Let's find out. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce. Let the first guy who was here, the one who was like, here from like, 20 minutes ago, Mike Rodriguez, welcome. Mike is basically one of the visionaries and certainly the forerunners in terms of being able to get content creators, right, going in this very new age of what I refer to as cinema, because it's all it's all a movie, right? He recently actually released a book, The Content to Cash Bible, which is an amazing read, and really and truly everything that you need to know about, content creation and how to capitalize on it. So I wanted to say, Mike, thanks so much for joining us, brother. Really appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. And I need to bring you everywhere I go just because I'm going to say, Simon, just tell them who I am and then we good. So good.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm ready. My bags are packed. The bags are packed. So I also wanted to bring to the conversation Janelle Permal. But actually, Janelle, am I ever pronouncing your last name correctly, or have I been?
You don't ever do it right, but it's okay.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad that I've understood how to destroy your name, online. So anyway, I've known her for a while. She's an amazing personality. She's building a strong presence online as an influencer and a digital creator. And she certainly understands the Caribbean in a very global, way, which is what I appreciate about the things that she does. It doesn't feel limited to just Trinidad and Tobago where she's from, but it feels like someone who gets what putting ourselves out there to a community of billions of people should be like. So welcome for Janelle to join us on this
Thank you
session.
for having me.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll trouble you later on in the program. Also on that just joined us. By the way, he was late. Just want to make that clear. Arturo Martinez Tito, basically, basically is joining us from his car, right? But he's here, which is the most important thing. Arturo, there's not enough good things you could say about this brother. I mean, he is definitely, one of the nicest guys you'll meet in the industry, who has, touched the hearts and souls of so many different people and had so much industry experience in terms of management and booking with so many celebrities. It doesn't make sense to call them all out. But I will say that one Ortiz, I hope I got Riddell's last name pronunciation right. But basically, he has been destroying social media in so many different ways, comedy-wise, etc. He's built a following of over 2 million people, probably more than that now. It's probably more like 4 million over all the various media platforms that are out there. And he's also selling out venues. He's transitioned from just being that guy that you'll see on these great comedic, 60-second to 2-minute clips to a guy who is taking the stage and absolutely destroying it by selling out theaters, soon to be amphitheaters, probably. So Arturo is the man behind the curtain. who is orchestrating, this effort. I hope I did justice there, right, Arturo? I'm waiting for Arturo to take off that mute button. But once
He said yes.
Oh, he
said
did?
yes.
Oh, all right, cool. All right, I didn't see that part. So,
No.
Apologize very much. But I'm with a guest actually here. Say hi to everyone. Say hi to Waddell, everyone. Yeah.
Yo, I heard all that nice stuff you were saying about me, bro. Is it true?
We Caribbean people love to lie.
I was listening like, damn, who are we talking about?
Man,
thank you very much, and I'm sorry for jumping on late.
We know it's the artist's fault. It's always the artist's fault, man.
There you go. I'm going back to mute now.
I'll take the blame.
But hello to everybody on the round table too. It's a packed round table, very talented group, and I'm glad everyone's on it. And I hope everyone's gonna take advantage of what they're gonna get tonight from everyone here.
Yeah, man. We love you for that. And so we're looking out for some feedback from you guys. Let me see here. Now Scotty hasn't figured out, like, I have to see him put on his camera first so we could go to Scott. But Scott Sardina has roots embedded in the Caribbean. He's from Trinidad, but he's been living in Los Angeles for quite some time, and has his whole family's there, etc. And Scott, when you get a chance to actually, I'm just seeing, oh, there we go. All right. So Scott has quite a storied past, man. He's been a production designer. He's worked on tons of music videos. Snoop Dogg is just one of the many names that I could call. He currently serves as Will Smith's cultural attaché. He has done a lot of work for the Will Smith family circle, as well as for Westbrook. I mean, this goes back at least 10 years in which he's been involved in nearly every movie set that Will has done, and he's also packaged a lot of the major events that they do on those sets as well. So he's highly respected, a mover and a shaker, as they say, my brother, right? And definitely a force to be reckoned with. So Scotty, good to see you, brother, on this call with us. How you doing?
Thanks for the intro, Simon, for the kind words. Greetings to everyone. This round table is a pleasure to be amongst you all, and looking forward to great work, great things. And again, thank you, Simon, for those wonderful words.
You owe me money, Scotty. You owe me money.
Yeah.
All right.
I know, yeah. According to Arturo, your check is coming, don't worry.
Wait, Arturo still uses check? So that being said, the last but not least, Rajiv Singh is with us as well. Incredible young dude, entrepreneur, social media, magnet. He basically handles a number of influencers, but the one that everyone probably is familiar with is Certified Samson, who has well over 1 million followers across the various platforms, be it TikTok and Instagram, etc. And Rajiv is really understanding how to pave the way, not just for him, but for others as well in the Caribbean, by looking at those clients, not just as artists, but as CEOs of possible companies So he's building out that stuff too. They recently they started an ice cream brand, which has grown exponentially. So I mean, this brother is doing things. He's never once allowed me to cut in on any business deal, never given me a percentage, but I still love him and forgive him the same. Great having you on, brother. How you doing?
Appreciate it. Good, good. I resonate with his name, boy, but his artist is with him too. And he's same position.
Arturo.
Yeah, Ontario. My artists have me outside too. So we know last minute had to run and do a gig. So I apologize for the moving along, the meeting itself, but definitely a pleasure to be here.
You? Why are you moving around like that for?
I'm feeling nervous, boy. You have some real big players on this call here. I didn't realize it was such a big call by Simon where you set me off. Simon, you know this guy here
well,
too?
that's what I do well. I try to set people. Oh shoot, that's Dana. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, good man. Cheers,
Good
boy.
to see you, man. Good to see you. Yeah. All right, so Rajiv, you're in good hands. You're in good hands.
Yeah.
All right. So listen, just one thing, if you can, just turn your camera this way, horizontal. I think it makes it a lot better for the format, the YouTube channel that we're on.
Oh, gotcha.
All right. So that's everybody on the call. It only took us 12 minutes to run through, all you fantastic guys. And that's it. We have no more room, no more time. It was wonderful. But are we going to see all of us now, Marcus, so that we could feel like we're in the same room around a round table? I'm just asking in terms of the YouTube crew. But anyway. All right, no problem. Well, I can see them all on Zoom, so I'm just gonna kind of cut to the chase. Mike, what the hell happened? Like, when did it suddenly turn that this world that we know of social media and influencing could become so profitable? When did you recognize that, something was going on and it was a chance for you to make the best of it?
Well, for me, it was super organic. I got into this with my nephew through marriage. I came from the music industry. I was managing in music, and then, like I said, my nephew through marriage had said, "Hey, in January 2017, he's like, listen, I'm going to take this serious. I'm going to do what I have to do." Okay, cool. I was the cool uncle because I'm a very cool uncle, by the way. I'm a very cool dad. I'm very cool everything. But anyway, no, he had a meeting, and I said, "You want me to go with you?" And it was because he had a video that did very well. He went up to a Duce podcast, and he said, "Hey, Rock Nation and Tidal wants to have a conversation. So you want me to go with you?" And he said, "Sure." Went there. I hadn't been in a building in about 3 years, and they wanted to give him a web series. We got downstairs. He said, "I have no idea what they were talking about," and it was nothing for me. And it was like, "Hey, can you do this?" And I went from Uncle Mike to Manager Mike. And that was the first deal that we negotiated. That was Chicle, and then we built Chicle and then built Millenni, built them together. And I just saw what it was. And like we were talking off camera, as far as how I equate this with hip hop. And I was here at the beginning of hip hop, and I saw how artists were taken advantage of. And now the influencers are the new versions of that. And there's money, right? Whereas in the early years, you didn't know that until some people got taken advantage of. And now it kind of came in, and the game has changed even since then, since 2017. But, when you start to deal with the brands of the Netflix and the Nikes and the Hulus and all of those type, it's like, wow, okay, this is a real thing, which kind of led to, hey, this is not just about a moment, even though a bunch of moments builds to a career. And that's kind of like my take on it. I always want these creators to build a career. It's here. It's a creator economy. I'm very heavy on that. There's an economy that was built on an art form. There's no economy if there's no money. So They called it the creator economy. And I like creators to focus on that word, the economy word. And that's how you can really build yourself out.
Do you see any similarities in terms of this art form and music, right? Because you talk about hip hop. Like, is there something about it that you think connects in regards to the way the industry moves, or do you see it as completely separate, to that?
I think it's very similar. I mean, even when I say I'm a manager and people think it's social media manager, it's like, no, you manage just like you would manage an artist. I manage influencers or creators. It's super simple. You need publicists, you need agents, all of the things that an artist would need. The same thing with an influencer when they're doing their business the right way, right? When you're trying to structure it and build a career. If you just want to do a video and make some money, okay, cool, get it, do what you got to do, make money for the weekend. It is what it is. But it is very, very similar, in my opinion, to the music side because it's an art form. It's an art form, and you're making, like they always said, hey, the word business is longer than the word music, right? Focus on the business. It's very, very similar. It's very similar. It's just you have creators getting into a business, and that's why you need the roles of myself, Arturo, like the people that are on the call that handle the business side of things. You need that in order for clients, talent, they become family, to prosper and move forward and handle themselves the right way.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I think that what's really important to understand is that there are two ways, I think, in terms of being able to build yourself as a creator, right? There's from the ground up. And in the case with Scott, I mean, maybe this is something you can answer for us, because there are some celebrities who try this and fail miserably, right? At being able to really capitalize on their social media. But you've been there from the get-go when Will decided that he was going to really take advantage of this art form. And you've seen that basically, skyrocket into, I mean, God, I want to say it's over 60 million, followers. So is there something that you saw that he did different to other celebrities that you were working with that, really made you recognize how he was treating it differently, Scott?
Well, I would say this, piggybacking on what Mike just stated, it is an art form. And it's a creative process in that lane as such. With respect to Will, in his career, he was seeing that shift as well in social media, TikTok, Instagram, and all of these influencers building their audience. You understand, in movie making and filmmaking, your audience was the general public that will go to cinema and buy a ticket and watch a movie. Then you got your audience at home with blockbuster videos, etc. Where he saw this shift occurring now, where he started off as a movie star, he saw this shift in the box office occurring, a decrease there, and an increase on social media, an increase in streaming, right, where these platforms started picking up steam, so to speak. So he realized that in order to hold his audience, gain a new audience, become relative, still giving himself a name and a chance in the industry, and still ready to make more movies, he realized it was pertinent for him to get on board with social media, get an Instagram account, get a YouTube account. The same approach he took from Fresh Prince to movie making with his manager, as Mike was saying, that's an integral part of whatever your dreams and aspirations is. As a creative, as a nobody or whatever, you need management, you need agency, you need publicists and whatnot. So the same approach, I want to be a movie star, I want to be the biggest movie star. Get a manager. How do you do that? What do you need to do? Get that research going, which is I witnessed as well how he became the actor and the movie star he is. Researching what are the movies that he hit, what is this guy out there that would always be the thing to grab your audience. So you realize that in Instagram and YouTube, you gain an audience there and you become relevant. And what it is now is a shorter content to a full feature or whatnot. but you want to still be relevant either in a creative sense of comedy, humor, a message or information that you want to share of relevance to people and whatnot. So he saw himself as a way, in that sense, of using his voice, his platform, and to also build a new audience in the world that we live in. So yeah, it's definitely something that an influencer today is as big as a celebrity from back in the days when, I mean, in my time when I was coming up, you know, for my son who's 21, 22, today's influencer is today's celebrity for them, for that generation and younger, you know?
Yeah, I think that those are really key and critical points in terms of understanding how it has changed from you know, that setting, you know, 20 years ago to what it is today. And in terms of what you're talking about, there's a for Will, obviously, he already had a lot going for him. No doubt. He also had the access in terms of financing teams, etc., to create that. But in the case
Yeah.
of let's, you know, talking with Arturo, you know, and our boy Riddell, like what how is that journey different for, you know, him, Arturo, not having those resources, right? Like how was he able to build upon that strength and make the best of it to what, you know, is happening today?
Well, I'm not a social media expert. However, I would say this, it's in order to become relevant on social media, you have to create your audience, right? You have to do research on what it is I'm giving out there in order to gain an audience or an audience to accept or receive my creativity or my music or my skits, sketches, what have you, you know?
Right.
It's a lot to do also with sort of mining and trolling a little bit of what's out there and who's doing what out there, how they're doing it, following their story of how they started off too, because the name is slipping me right now, but a African gentleman who just does expressions. He's one of the first, and we had him on Bad Boys 4 in a cameo sense. Gosh.
I know who you're talking about.
He just started off, right? You know, he realized that it's not always necessary about what you have to say, but an expression in itself, which is what we all relate to, could build an audience. You know what I mean? So you have to try to figure out and find these loops, even as an artist, as Rodell is, you know, where can I come in, introduce myself in a different way or in a different light in this social media platform. you know.
We actually have him on the call, Scotty, so I'm gonna let him get a chance to jump in and tell us what his thoughts are too. I mean, Arturo, I know you guys are there.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, you know, it's on both parts, right? Because I find myself like Mike, that I find this so much like the music industry, right? Relationships, and I think as a manager, it's our job to try to put the creator in the best position possible, right? Get the best positioning, make the best arrangements for them, but it's really all about the creator, right? Their craft, because they come in, the content creators I see, for whenever they want to branch out and do everything else, I think they come in with a step that everyone kind of strives for, right? If it's a musician that wants to build his audience, if it's a comedian that has to build his audience, if it's a spoken word artist wants to build his audience, the content creator kind of works the other ways. They build their audience first, do their skits, and then they could branch off and do everything else. In my case, I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with Andy to a point where it's kind of like whatever he wants to do, right? Because, you know, like a management, he has the talent, and again, we're there to put them in the best position possible. You know, you want to act, okay, I can't get you that role, get you this place, get you this. That's your job to do, but I can get you in that position to let your art shine through, right? Whether you want to get something in music or things like that. So it's kind of weird because MySpace, I'm just a facilitator.
Right.
You know, he does what he does, and he's gained his audience by doing what he does best, right? There's a bit I could take for that. You know, that was his art, his craft, and his thing, and I'm kind of just there to assist. So the creators, it's a wide range of things that they can do, and I think the best thing is to just let them do it. You know, I often going on TikTok and I see people just having the camera, and whether they're fulfilling orders at Amazon or sewing, and that thing is there for hours, and they have thousands of people just watching them. Like, you know, like, what are you doing? I'm putting buttons on a coat, and people just watch them. And it's like, you know, they're creating their fan base for whatever it is they want to do. But that's that head start, right? Once they have that audience, then they can branch out, start doing other things. Here, merch, here I'm doing music, here I'm doing this. So there's, for my instance, you know, you have Mike that comes from a marketing background, and I know Scotty has done a phenomenal job, and everyone here on the panel has done a job. On my job, I just say I'm just blessed just to let them do what they do, and take it from there and make it work. You know, for me to even attempt to say I have any part of building that, no, but I'm just here kind of like the janitor, keeping it clean, right?
Yeah.
Making sure business runs right.
Yeah,
That's
as
how
a-
I do.
Yeah, I could even resonate a little bit with that too, and say, you know, we just really facilitators, because once we, you know,
Mhm.
at least get some of the business aspects down, it's really allowing them now to be in the creative mindset too, you know, to thrive and not, and that's really their strong and core point, you know, and
Right.
letting them also, you know, connect a lot more with the community, so that when we do ventures outside the community could feel a part of it too. So definitely agree with you there on that.
Yeah, I mean, but the fact is that you're also recognizing, Rajiv, that you could take advantage of the space and turn it into something beyond just an artist showing their craft. In for instance, with your client's case is comedy, you've also turned it into several businesses, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that, I mean, I kind of think that the manager's role is not just, I mean, I understand what Arturo meant, but I think that managers are certainly, like Arturo, extremely important beyond just the caretaking aspect. We can also guide them in areas that grows their business exponentially to, you know, from just making $1,000 to making $1 million, right? If you know.
Yeah, no, by far, it's a team effort, and you know, to touch back on what Mike said, it's always a team effort as well.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
managers, publicists.
So,
Look, you know, using an analogy from baseball or cricket, right? You can't pitch and hit at the same time, right? You know, everyone has to play their position, and you need to build a strong team. You need a good pitcher, a good catcher, a good fieldsman. So, you know, everyone plays that position, and I just think that once, if it's a team effort, there's no denying where you could take everything and anything. So, as
Yeah,
far as
no.
there was a saying that someone said, if you want to be in business with creatives, you better start getting creative with business. You know, and I think that's just what it is, right? Let the creators create, and the business will come, and then you just have to handle that business portion. So
Yeah, let's talk to. I agree with that. Let's talk to one of the creators on this call. So, Janelle, what I really want to find out from you is, you know, you are, whereas we do have people on the call who are building upon the millions plus followers, right? You are now getting your feet wet, so to speak. You have, I mean, I know on Instagram you have over 15,000 followers as an example. But what are the challenges that you find, you know, in terms of being able to build within this market, and where is it that you personally think that it is that you can take the brand, you know, moving forward? Because I mean, I'm sure that there must be a vision that you have as well. But I mean, understanding that the market is so, in my opinion, so saturated, right? Like, it's just so many people
Yeah.
doing what you do. So what are your
Exactly.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, exactly. I would surely agree with you that the market is saturated. I mean, like, it stemmed from COVID when everybody pretty much had nothing really to do. So that's when TikTok really blew up and everybody was like dancing or just pretty much trying anything to just keep themselves occupied. For me, it was kind of the other way around. I didn't really know too much. Well, I shouldn't say know too much, but I wasn't really into all the content at that time. I was simply just trying my makeup, taking my little videos, posting it on Instagram, and then I realized, wait, kind of enjoy this. And then I started to do other things, and I realized people actually want to see, you know, what you do on a daily basis and like the progress that you make, basically. And
Right.
then well, when I got into pageantry, truth be told, I was a very shy person. And when I got into pageantry, things kind of turned over for me. And then afterwards, like being forced to like actually open up and speak to your audience and whatnot, let them know who you really are. That was an eye opener for me, and it really helped me kind of know where I wanted to go. And that's when I
Right.
realized, okay, I genuinely like to speak to people. And for me, yes, I see a lot of creators doing what I do, because I'm not a funny person. I can't be a comedian or things like that, even though Trinidadians love that. But I find my own personal identity shining through my content. So that's where I try to make it more personal and different compared to other creators to make sure it's not looking the same way. And yeah, so that's more or less what I try to do. I mean, I have my little saying that I make sure to post like almost every day, and that's how people know, like, yeah, that is Janelle. You know, my line is, "Hello, my beautiful people." You know, I am a type of person that likes to be positive because I've been through a lot of negative things my way. So, and like when I started that, it was just out of the blue. You know, I didn't think anything about it, and then I realized I started saying it quite often until people started to pair that with me. They're like, okay, that is Janelle saying. That is what, like, from the minute you see a video and you hear that, it's okay, that's Janelle. And she's going to come with something cutesy, something kind of clumsy, because that's just my personality, you know? And I
Right.
try to tie that into all of my content and try to make it as authentic as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I see that from watching obviously what it is that you post. I mean, it brings up a great question, Mike. How important is authenticity for the content creator to engage with their audience? Can you be fake and still sell it, or you believe you have to be authentic?
I mean, I think you can be fake. We all know people that are fake. You sit there, you see them on social media, and they'll be like, "You're not really like that." You can be fake because again, it becomes cinematic, right? Sometimes you can put on an actor, right? You could be Beyonce, and then when she gets on stage, she's Sasha Fierce, right? You can literally do that. I'm a fan of authenticity, and I think when you say it's saturated, it is saturated, but also it's not to the point where stars will. It's the cream is gonna rise to the top, because even back when I started 2017, it's a lot different than right now. You know, I think the consumer has gotten smarter. because back then it was different. You can say, "Hey, I have this," and then influencers were salesmen. Even in the very beginning, in the stages on the come up as far as negotiating with brands, I always saw, I was like, "Hey, they're not salesmen, right?" Like I always looked at influencers as talent, and it's an art form, and I say art is never wrong because it's an expression, so nobody can tell you it's wrong. But when the business gets involved, there's creative briefs and how do we do this, and we have to say this, and and it's always like, hey, tell me what you want to say. Let the creator say it the way they want to because you're here for them. I know you want their eyeballs. That's what you're looking for, and I think a creator needs to be their authentic self. It's literally what makes them who they are, right? And that's the thing. And I'll use Radel, being that he's on the call. He is super authentic to who he is, and he's killing it, right? Because he's hilarious. He's who he is. He is not trying to be anything else but who he is. And that's where I think what happens is that so many people, because there is a business, and so many people see, oh, it's going to be a $500 billion business by 2030. I want to do this. 85% of kids want to be creators because they think it's easy. And I always tell people it's a low cost of entry. You have a phone that your parents probably bought for you. That's your investment. You shoot a video and you're on your way. Now, literally, you say, hey, you could say that if you want to, but you have to work at it. And there's a lot. Listen, I can go here for hours about the respect that I think creators need to have and influencers because it's not easy. But once you're yourself, it becomes easy. It becomes easy because you're doing what you say. Like Janelle said the same thing. She found her voice. And that's what you have to do. Same thing now with music, right? I see a lot of music artists. All they post is music. It's, yeah, okay, I get it. Everybody can sing. There's talent everywhere. What makes me want to watch you? What makes me want to like? What makes me want to follow? I need to know. I need to peel the layers back of the individual because it was different years ago. I need to know who you are now. And I got to be invested in that. And that's how I'll be able to, that now you'll have a supporter, not just a fan. And that's where I think authenticity comes out because everybody here is, we all hear you're one of one. You just got to figure out what that is. And not everybody can have Radel's success. Not everybody can have 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. Some people have built careers on 30,000.
Yeah.
But there's a career base built off of that. You got to know how to do that.
Yeah. I mean, and that is something that you sometimes can't teach, right? Like, I mean, I think that there's a quality and inherent quality that the ones who rise to the top that you're talking about just understand what that takes and what works. And it's funny. I was at this conference in Toronto called Collision. And so they have all these, savvy tech people there, and they have, content creators on stage talking about stuff. And one of them was talking about the metrics, right? And that sometimes, the analytics are telling you like, hey, you should do this, right? And then they tried that and it didn't work, right? Like they saw like the numbers didn't actually increase. So what I want to find out really is, Rajiv, I know one of the things that you guys do is you're constantly trying to figure out what's the next step. But my question is, how much are the analytics influencing the very way that you guys present the material, to your audience?
Yeah. So I would say very, very heavy. Because the analytics is almost, I wouldn't want to say like your cheat code, but it's basically, getting a better understanding of like who your audience is and what type of video, what type of content resonate with them the best, and in our instance, my artist, he has picture Medea, right? So we all know how Medea has various characters, yeah? So with that, we able to see, okay, if we do a video with Zion, which is one of the characters' names, or a video with Screws, which is another, which character do people resonate with the most, And then we now compound that and maybe, okay, we build up this character that everybody likes. And then, okay, how do we keep, because we always need to be innovative. Like this is also a business too, and with business you need to be innovative constantly because things are always changing. Yeah, so
Right.
you know, we then could even use the one that okay, like with the Zion character, that's a popular one. How do we then pair him with a new character that we're going to bring up that the fans can also like just based on the other characters and the little aspects in each one of them that they would have liked. How do we then put that towards a new character development? So that we fit now with what the change in the trend is, things like that. And then even for us to with the analytics, even with the business aspect of it, is also I think this may be a little bit beyond the point, but is also for us. Where do we open another certified scoop, which is our ice cream store? Yeah.
Okay.
Do we look at Guyana? Do we look at Barbados? Do we look at Jamaica? Which territories do we have the most fan base in to make that next strategic step? Because resources are scarce. Yeah, we're not in the 1% where we have tons of money where we could okay, let's open up this one, let's open up that one. So we really need to be very meticulous with where we choose to spend our time and resources there. So looking at the analytics really helps us personally with that, with the character development and even making those key business decisions. Like we were just recently faced with a decision: do we open up a new branch in the heart or the capital of Trinidad and Tobago, or do we look at the east of the island? And when we did our analytical research, we actually found more people were coming from the east, to come down to try the ice cream, and as an experience. Yeah. So, we made the decision we're going to open up in Eastgates, which is a mall in the east instead of a mall in Port of Spain, And
Yeah.
so far the feedback been great. Everybody loved the decision to go there instead of Port of Spain. Even when we interviewing staff, a lot of them was like, yeah, boy, we leave all up here to come down with family. So just the analytics was like cool for me personally,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see how it obviously works in your favor from a business perspective. And then I understood the part that was shared with us in Toronto about you gotta be careful that it doesn't misguide you because
Mhm.
these are just computers crunching numbers as well. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they understand the
People too, yeah.
human nature. Scotty, could you maybe because of your interaction with Will and seeing how he's built the social media side of it, I remember when I started following Will on Insta years ago, it was more of a Will used to kind of preach to us, right? He would sit down on a bench, kind of like spurt words of wisdom and things like that. But now it's much more calculated, in which you see him, of course, at events. You see him promoting his movies. Has it become more of a instead of that technique of, hey guys, I want to talk to you as a friend, does it feel more like it's a, hey, I got a movie coming out type of vibe, or is it just he's trying to find that balance? How are you seeing that personally?
So I'll go back to the inception of when he decided that he wanted to become part of social media and Instagram, YouTube particularly. It was about research, like I said, like who's doing what. I think Jake Paul and them guys was having big YouTube channels then and whatnot. So finding what they were doing, and again, I'll definitely agree with what Mike said earlier about authenticity. There's a fake aspect of it, and then you have the authentic aspect. And I think Arturo mentioned it too. As an artist, you have to be true to yourself, true to who you are. And I think that's where you'll find your true audience. And yes, you're correct. In Will's initial approach was from things he may have read in the many books that he has read to share with folks. He himself had more of a say in what it is he wanted to put out there, or I guess the perspective he wanted to be seen in, you know what I mean, which was more of his authentic self in his own content, him goofing and as you know, there was one big part in the earlys with Scare and Scotty was just how we would just normally be on and off set or, you know, on location and stuff. And after I realized, after having a team, which he still has now, there's more of a directive in maybe you should do this because based on analytics or based on the survey or what's happening or the trend is more these or this is how it should be shot, whatnot. And even so much so today with, as you said, you have a movie coming out. Now he's back in the lane with music. So, you know, you're trying to find that audience to again or new as such in the social media fray of things is it's more strategic.
Mhm.
All right. It's more a strategy of this is how we're gonna go about launching this. There's a timing to it when
Right.
things are posted, which I believe is researched as well. When is the high time and low time to post? As well as also with regard to finding that balance still, it's still there, yes. But I think once you do find your balance, once you do find your audience, as he's in now, whether you have the resources or you don't, I think the craft, your creativity, your comedy, your music, whatever, definitely will speak to itself to give you the longevity or the span of time you'd have out there on that platform, you know, existed and whatnot.
Yeah, I think it's you know based on what you said and obviously following up on what everyone has contributed thus far. Shinaka, who asked us online about you know being an influencer in the field and why passion is important. My question to you guys is, this has become a job, right? And what I really want to find out from you all is, you know, maybe we could start with Arturo because I'm not sure how often it still happens as in consistency, but how often are you guys posting? You and when I say you guys, I'm just talking about your clients in some cases, right? But Arturo, is Riddell doing this thing daily? Is it weekly? I want to find out the same thing from Mike and Janelle and you know Rajiv and others. What's happening here? What's the strategy?
Well, here- some backstory. A month ago, we've been for the past year we've been touring the comedy clubs. He's doing the show, obviously, more than a year. So he was. It's not that he was taking it easy, but there was a lot of focus on other things, right? On the shows, on the traveling and stuff like that. A month ago, we announced his first theater show in New York City at the United Palace, and he went on a rampage. He went on a rampage with this last month, and actually today, looking at the analytics, I want to say he did 107 million views in the last 30 days. So,
Wow.
and I say all to say that when he's on and he digs in and just starts going, it's kind of like a lot of the stuff that has went viral before went. There's like a second lightning strike, you know, and a second lightning strike. So his thought process is because you know you also have to think about the algorithm, right? It's not sometimes put it as much out there because they want you to pay for those ads and they want you to boost it and they want you to get it to more people. But our recipe has been is that when he's on and he creates new things and throws it out there, obviously the numbers speak for themselves. So yeah, so I wouldn't say there's a set formula for him, but just how he's feeling and his work ethic on that part is just pretty strong. So, you know, thankfully I don't have to constantly ask him to push and stuff like that. He sees the results himself, and I'm sure just like every creator, you know, when they see the numbers riling up, it kind of like gives it that call and response, right? You know, you give it to them.
But is that skit comedy stuff that we know him for? Is he still doing that with the consistency of, let's say, you know, once or twice every week, or because of the newfound success, it's
no, he's constantly doing. Yesterday, there's a gentleman named Leo Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Leo Gonzalez from the West Coast. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. Leo Gonzalez, he's like 1.5 billion. He's from the West Coast, and he came in and they collaborated on some stuff, did a couple of skits. So creativity is always doing new skits. Always, it's still, I think more now, but
it's still close to old stuff.
Yeah. The old stuff, like I was saying, the old stuff has gone viral. Like now with the giving, there's some Thanksgiving stuff that he did that you repackage it and repost it and redo it, and it just has like gives it a new life. There's certain skits he's done that it's kind of seasonal, right? There's a skit that he did. It's a baseball skit that every year that he's swinging the ball, he's swinging at a ball, missing. And every year it goes viral and they tag a new ball player to it every year. You know, because I guess a new ball player fits that place for it. So that skit goes viral every year. The Thanksgiving skit with the family goes revival every year. So, but as far as creativity, yeah, he's still pumping out skits like crazy. So
yeah, let me
still doing that.
No, that's, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. But let me kind of change the question a little bit for you, Mike. Based on everything that we're hearing, and for those who are tuned in and gonna follow this later on, Daniel Marik brings up a question. He says, what kind of exercises can an up-and-coming artist or content creator do to build an audience? And I guess he's talking from a creative standpoint and from a business standpoint. I mean, you've seen this. So is there anything you can do to address this that may also speak to consistency of posts, for example? Like, well, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think I always say the beginning is the best part because you get to test, right? You got to kind of figure out, hey, you know, like what Rajiv was saying as far as with the data, the numbers are going to tell you.
Right.
So, hey, I want to do a skit in my house. I want to do something, or I'm going to use skit as the example. Whatever I do, I'm going to do it in my house. Oh, I'm going to do it outside. Or I'm going to do it with somebody, like kind of changing the backgrounds, changing some of the topics, but sticking to yourself, right? I'm not saying do comedy, then do drama, unless you're an actor. And now this is what you're trying to show, you know, the layers of yourself. You have to constantly do it. And that's the thing about this career, right? Like I always say, like I like to work with people that look at it as a career and not just a job. Because a job, you just sit there, you clock in, it's out. A career, you're really trying to build this out, right? And you have to look at it like that because it's not, I keep going back to it, it's not easy, right? And the algorithm will get you, you know what I mean? As popular as you are, it's still going to take time, you know, and you gotta make sure that you keep doing it for the love. Don't do it for the numbers. You know, speaking with Chicle had said something to me the other day, and he was like, I have to start making, you know, I had to go back to making it for me and for the people rather than the numbers. And then that changes everything because it's a mindset. And you have to have the right mindset for this too. Because you can do something, throw it out there, it'll hit. Now it's like a high. You're chasing that. You're chasing that high. You're chasing that virality. And if you don't get that, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to fold? Be like, oh, this sucks. You know what I mean? No, you have to be able to continue to go. So the person that's asking the exercises, you just got to keep going and figuring it out because nobody knows what's going to work except you. But just make sure that you love it. I always tell people, find something that you're passionate about and continue to do it because this is going to be a lot more than just going to a job. And hey, I went to school, went to college, got a job. At least at 5 o'clock, I could check out. You can't do that here. You can't do that here. And some people post it and take it down because it didn't do well enough. because we're so addicted to those numbers. And once you start to do that, you know, again, there's a mental aspect of this game, because it could really mess with you if you're not prepared for what you want. People want virality, but are you okay with people, you know, trolling you? You'll have people that love you, but are you okay with that one comment that says something about something, you know, whatever? The person in the background that might be your mother. I don't know. Are you okay with that? Because now you're opening it up to everybody. So you have to be mentally prepared for all of this. It's not just the money, you know, it's not just the fame. You got to be able to deal with this. And that's why you have to be strong-willed for this. So.
Yes. And for the record, my mother's not in the background. Just want you guys. Yes, the back of my head looks a little old and messed up, but that's not my mother. Just want to make that very clear. Let me just get the last comment from you guys. Janelle, you know, what do you see as the future of this thing? I'm really curious. I mean, you're young, right? You obviously are passionately involved in this as a craft. So what do you see as the future of this? I mean, I'm interested in your interpretation of it, not just from your perspective, but from your generation's perspective.
Yeah, for me personally, like ever since I started my content creation, it's took me here, there, and everywhere, and I'm really grateful for it. And it's allowed me to really open up my creative side and actually delve deeper into what I can do. So recently, I've been working with a few brands in Trinidad, and what I loved about working with them is that they actually gave me the creative. They allowed me to be creative in my own way. You know, sometimes I work with brands and they kind of give you like an outline of what you should say as I'm sorry, the name is not clicking right now. Yeah, sometimes they give you an outline and they kind of stifle you in a sense. But I worked with a lot of brands and they gave me the creativity to do what I wanted to do. And with that, I was able to come up with little skits. Like that's something I never did before because I started off just pretty much talking about certain products or services and in my own way, of course. But now I find myself literally when a brand approaches me, if it's for a product or a service, I think about, okay, how can I make this entertaining? So with that, I realized, okay, maybe I can do a little bit of acting. It has been on my mind. I mean, I've spoken to Simon about this. Music and acting has been something that's been on the back of my mind, but thankfully, Simon, I'm bigging you up here. He kind of opened me to that possibility, and I'm really grateful for that because, I mean, coming from like my background, it's never how to put it, I didn't see that as a possibility. And now being in this industry, I see a bright future for myself because now I know what direction I want to like dive deeper into. So I'm trying my best to see how possible that can be. Of course, it has to start at home, but the goal is to also be out there, be international, reach a larger audience, and you know, give my personality and my personal brand to others to enjoy.
Nice. All right, Mike, I want to leave you for last, right? Because of the book. So I'm just gonna go around the room really quickly. Arturo, in terms of and Janelle, thanks for that. I thought that was perfectly said. Arturo, for you guys, where does it ever stop? Is there a point where because you guys are doing so well in that comedy realm, you may just, you know, press the brakes on social media and just concentrate more on what you're doing, or
Well,
you know?
I can't speak for him, but I don't think so because just knowing how passionate he is and where he comes from, right? You always stick to like what built you up and what brought you to the place you want to do, right? You know, the comedy thing came in, but I think for him, as he's mentioned many times, the social media thing is something that fulfilled him, you know, and kind of like what Janelle was saying, it was something that lets her be her, right? And that's important to her and that's important to him. So I don't see him ever, you know, letting up on it per se, but just taking advantage of all the other opportunities is something. Well, you know what? If the panel allow me, let me ask him to see if he'll answer that himself. If that's
Right,
okay with
nice.
you guys. Okay.
Let's hear from the man himself.
Hey guys. So yeah, exactly what Arturo said. Nah, yeah. It's something I've always said. I always want to continue making content. Like it's helped me throughout through the depression that I had back in 2018. It was like my comfort, to make content. So it's even to this day when I'm feeling down, I for whatever reason, nothing can fulfill that. Nothing makes me happier not getting a paycheck. Nothing makes me happier than just making content with my family. Just the moment, just being in the moment of being there with my family and just laughing. It's like the whole world around us just don't even matter. It's like I'm so present in that moment, and it's just one of those things that, like Arturo said, it's fulfilling in ways that nothing else can really bring me. So I always want to make content, always, always, and that's been something that's been me since a little kid. Since a kid, I used to love making content, and I stopped because I thought you have to grow up, stop being stupid, and get a job. That's what I thought. So once I picked it back up, that's when I feel like my life had a newfound purpose. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for listening.
No, man. Oh boy.
Mike, what up, baby?
Oh, but I mean,
have a good night. Y'all, love y'all.
Hey, love you too, brother. And I think that that's really important for us to understand that it can't, and Mike said this at the beginning, it can't be for the money, right? You have to understand it's about loving it as an art form and what it is that you contribute in the space. I mean, Scotty, let me get to you. We've been talking about Will this whole time, but I know that you've been featured in stuff, for some reason, Will scares you every time, which makes me ashamed to call you a fellow West Indian, because I don't understand how you can get scared like on every single occasion he scares you. But my question is, you've seen the power of social media. Are you also thinking of capitalizing on it, and maybe in terms of the art that you do, right? Like using that more as as the future, I guess.
Yeah. No, hands down for sure. And I would say this, I think it's definitely is, it's happening now. We're witnessing it. It's just like when the internet started, that's what we're witnessing now, so to speak. And it's a necessary tool for any creative, any aspect of business. Like Janelle was saying, she had brands reaching out to her. I'm sure even when she started out, that wasn't the outlook of like, I'm going to do this to get brands or companies reaching out for certain things from her. You know what I mean? To get her creative spin on it, to boost there. Because as she said, I think she said, "Good morning, beautiful people." Beautiful people is her kind of hook that she's known for. Once you get a signature, as an artist, you could tell. A visual artist, you could see a certain style in the texture of the paint or the stroke, you know what I mean? To know that's a Simon Batiste piece. Once you hear a certain chord in music, a riff of a guitar or whatever, a certain key in singing, that's so and so. You know what I'm saying? So like how she's created a signature, that's what you need to do. Again, I mean, Mike is clearly the guy who has it all, the wisdom of all this. And I would say it again, you have to look at it as a career. You have to have passion behind it. You have to be laser focused on it. And if you can post every day, great. But if it's about every week as much as possible. Going back to what you asked, that's where I went wrong in the beginning with my goal. In jumping on Instagram. I was doing furniture. I've always been doing furniture design and building pieces and have my own clients, my own bespoke stuff. Never thought of necessarily having it advertised for the world, you know what I mean? Outside of that. And in all fairness, I personally experienced the power of social media coming, getting it, you know, being encouraged, I should say, to man, Scotty, you need to get a social media account, you know, put your shit on Instagram, you know what I mean? At least you have somewhere for people to see your stuff. So I said, all right, you know, feeling good when I went from 25 to 42 and 75. I was living good at 75 followers. I was like, yeah, I cool with that, you know? And then, no, for real. And then that's when Will started this scaring, like he realized that I kind of on edge sometimes now.
Yeah.
They start this thing and it really,
Bad weed would do that to you.
what's that?
Bad weed would do that to you.
I didn't hear you. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, you know, he started doing this stuff and it took off. And literally, there's one thing he said to me, and I guess this is when he realized the power of social media, when he jumped on and how it just went bam, bam, bam. He saw I was at 75 followers, and he said, I'll get it to 2,000 by tomorrow. And I was about 300 short from what he had said. But I saw from 75 followers just with that, just us getting kicks. You know what I mean? And I think Arturo was saying, people just want to see somebody knitting. People want to see somebody decorating a Christmas tree and talking about it, or, you know what I'm saying? Feeding chickens and how they feed them. But I saw from 75 to 2,000 to 15, 16, 18, wherever it is, 1,000 today. Now I realize where, with my mission at hand and my goals for next year to really come back out hard and strong with my furniture and using that platform that I have now on social media more in a business-minded sense of how can I get a bigger audience? How can I network, use this platform to network with other furniture designers globally and whatnot? You know, so for me, I realized, and Mike said it, he's talking to Nevi. My consultant is my son. All right.
Yeah.
But he's in that thing. His ex-girlfriend was a social media influencer. So there's brands and all these things and access to this and whatnot. So figuring out and trying to get the understanding of how to now reapproach it with more of a business mind aspect of it, of building an audience, but yet trying to be authentic, unique, and add a difference in a market that I agree again might not saturate it, because if there's always room for authenticity, there's always room for something fresh and unique, you know what I mean? Which is what Javi and those guys bring in with his artists and whatnot, you know. And then, I mean, look at it, ice cream stores, you know. And I meant to say, going back to that initial question, analytics is like a roadmap, you know what I mean? It's just a roadmap to everything you want to have in access to you, in reach of you, and beyond you down the line in the future of an ice cream store, whether in Port of Spain, Jamaica, Barbados, or whatnot, Guyana, you know? So, yeah, I think in closing, I would definitely say we are in the mix, hard and heavy, of the social media world. I think with the generations that are living in it and grew up in it, we are part of it, but we didn't grow up with it. Seeing you, Simon, you know, it all agree how you have, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, the thing is that it's everything now is about short content. Everything now is about immediacy, as you know, it's quick. So, you know, from full features to a trailer to a sizzle is what is gonna is a synopsis in on camera, you know what I mean?
Well, I think what's important here as a creator, I mean, you're creating in so many different ways. So you build furniture and using the analogies, you know, of the tools that you have, you know, you admit you go, like, let's say you're building something, you build a closet, right? you step into the closet and then you come out of the closet, right?
Hey.
What you're saying you do, right? So I mean, this is pretty much what we're talking about. Let me go to Rajiv really quick. And,
That was a real low blow there, was like, but
so Rajiv, let me just
I don't think
ask
Rastas will
you,
ever tolerate
because
that kind of thing. You know?
Rajiv, talk to him now. Thank you.
because I wanna go to you, then go to Mike to wrap up. So
Okay.
Rajiv, let me ask you this, right? There's the thing about what, let's say, Rodell is doing, where he's building an audience, but although he's from the DR, he's from DR, he's based in New York, whatever. His style of comedy reaches across markets. It's not just Latin, right? He's also reaching across to other areas that people are embracing him for. Now, you have a client that does very well within a traditional market, meaning that of Trinidad, a Trinidad audience, right?
Correct, yeah.
But what are you looking at in terms of being able to go beyond that? For those who are like, looking on and trying to understand, how are you building beyond a brand that seems to be so focused on Trinidad lingo and things like that? Like, what is the next step to touch other audiences that
Yeah.
would help you go from 1 million to 10 million?
Yeah. So for us, so this is part of our game plan, right? So, keep it from all secrets.
We're taking notes.
Yeah. So for us, with the different characters that we have, right, we're gonna do like a stand-up comedy special, right? So each character gonna get like a set time, and they're gonna go and perform on. Now we think this will work because apart from each being so connected with Trinidad and even I would say throughout the Caribbean too now, because it still amazes me, like we're here in Jamaica and seeing people run up to Samson and take photos and crying and things, it still amazes me, like we home in Trinidad doing these videos, in our office in the room. So to touch on it is really we're gonna use each character to now go and present stand-up shows. So we'll have the full set, everybody will have their time to perform, and we're hoping with each character it will touch different sides of the audience too. So maybe you may not like the jokes that one of the characters might tell, or you may not resonate with them as much, but the other one to come, you may resonate with him or her a bit better. Yeah. And then for us really in 2025, it's funny that you mentioned how we want to take it from the 5 mil to 10. That's really our main goal right now. I think we have a good grasp of the Trinidad market. So it's also connecting to with stars outside Trinidad too, So we came across here to see if we give them, we're gonna try and do a video with Sean Ball, right? So really trying to collaborate as well with other artists or other comedians so that we could also now tap into their audience and let their audience now get familiar with us too. So, with the comedy side, we're hoping we could tour and we could similar to like what Rodell doing, where we could tour and we could have different pieces for him to perform. Because we know the content is only so much too. But yeah, and even like pressing more the content. Samson, he does a video every day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing a video.
Wait. Every day, like consistently.
Yeah, every day. Some days
Alright.
we do 2 videos for the day, but every day we have like a set time, or if not a set time, and I think it really drives back in the point that everybody was saying here. You really have to love the craft too, love it and have that discipline for it. And I think, he finds that sense of happiness, like that dopamine that I think that strikes him when presses publish, and in the enjoyment of creating the content and everything. I don't think they have anything that could beat that for him. But what I want to do now is kind of, let him expand more on it. So we're gonna do short form series coming up soon, So instead of just the shorter skits online, we're gonna build out sets and have it a lot more diverse in terms of like introducing more characters, filling out, a more structured. Because right now everything everything he does is on the spot too. So like we'll come home and think about what's the video for today. We have like an idea bank too, but sorry about the background noise, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, long form content is where we're gonna go at next with the comedy skits and things. So just to wrap up the answer, live comedic shows with the different characters, and then longer form content. And you're gonna see us start to train the audience too. So you'll start to find, instead of the videos now being like a minute, maybe might be a minute and a half, 2 minutes, start to get them engaged so that they kind of want, and they start to, at least in theory, that's what we're gonna try to do, right? There's nothing, we're gonna, and if it doesn't work, we just go back to the drawing board. But we see how that goes, and we have the consumers, and when I say consumers, the audience themselves now asking for it,
Yeah, no, that's great stuff, man. Obviously, wish you guys all the best in that. And we're gonna wrap with Mike. I mean, it makes sense. And Mike, I'm waiting for my residuals and royalties. So everyone, of course, pick this book up, right? I get 10 cents on every book that's sold, right? So I want to say, what would you say definitively is going to be the game changer for all of us moving forward in terms of how we, can take the advantage of these, platforms that exist. And I'm sure that TikTok and Instagram is here today, and tomorrow there's going to be something else, right? So how are we supposed to take advantage of it moving forward? Do we just follow the crowd, or do we become leaders?
Well, first I gotta say that Scott definitely has the best backgrounds. He changed his backgrounds like it was outfits. So I think Scott is the winner of the backgrounds for this call. He was in the car. He's awesome. Love Scott.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
No, but I always think we need leaders, right? And I could go on a whole tangent about the word follower. We hear it so much. I grew up with leaders. And all we hear about is, do you follow me? I follow you. And that wasn't a good thing when I grew up. And I think we get so conditioned to following. I think we have to carve our niche in whatever we're doing. Like, think about, we're having this conversation, right? And you have a Radel doing comedy, Rajiv's with his client doing ice cream, right? Like, to me, that's super dope, right? And then you have somebody like a Will Smith coming to social media, understanding what it is. So you have to evolve. Janelle is just starting her career here. And this is all because of a creation. It's all because of art. It's all because of the phone, right? The smartphone. And there'll be different platforms, but I feel as long as you are true to yourself, you can go anywhere and do what you have to do, because this society, where we are, this tech age, we can do whatever we want, and you have to evolve. Look, there's a bald guy with a gray beard wrote a book on the content, on the creator economy. But the thing is that there's experience with it, right? Because I can learn from a Rajiv's because he's younger than me, but there's things that I can teach him as well, and vice versa, right? And it's just I think it's about information. I think the younger generation doesn't like to learn. They know everything. So that's why I never say I teach. I just say I have information. Here you go. Because once you say the word teach, it becomes this. Yeah. If I were to take Janelle, be like, listen, you know what? Let me tell you, like, you should get us, you know what? How about this? How about you stay in New York? I'm going to do what I'm going to do over here. You know what I mean? It's different when I'm just giving information. So I think that was a long-winded answer to come back to. I think we all need to be leaders, as we all are on this phone call, and continue to do what we have to do. And as long as we're able to evolve, because I think once you stop evolving, that's when it's over for whatever that is. But I'm excited. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about the future. If when I was 25 years old, somebody would have told me, hey, this is what you're going to be doing. This is, where you're at. You're going to be writing a book on that. Like, I'm literally I feel like in my OG phase of teaching, helping. And again, just I come from a human element, right? I want Janelle to learn something that I might have learned last year at 49. If she learns this year, it makes it, I don't have to get anything from her, but it helps on a whole. It's a village. It takes a village to raise. That's what I'm from. And that's why I love things like this. That's why me personally, I was super excited about this call. I was super excited when Tito told me about this group. That was the thing. Tito and I connected immediately. And it was funny because Rardell, when I spoke with Rardell, you gotta speak to my manager. And Tito and I have now formed a bond relationship outside of business. That's my brother right there. And if we all come together and do this, and I'll throw it to the group here. Anybody that wants to reach out to me, conversate anything, I'm here. So I want to be a man of my word. So
appreciate you, man. I appreciate all of you. Let me say this for the record. This, what is it? 1 degree of separation, right? So the reality is that we kind of, by doing this, we've broken that. We're there. There's no more separation, right? And the ability for us to move forward is the idea that Scott should be able to pick up the phone and call you, Mike, and similarly Janelle with Arturo and Rajiv, getting his client to hook up with Rodell. And that's where all this has to help us progress. And then
Align.
Yeah, completely. And we have the responsibility of helping others, those who are on the call, who are watching us and who's, are going to watch us when we post this, the idea that if they reach out and we could give some advice, consultation, I think that's important because that's legacy, right? And so I just want to say thank you guys, man. I mean, and we went 22 minutes over, but
good stuff.
But I think you know what? Hollywood Reporter does their round table. That shit goes on for like 90 minutes. So I mean, I feel like we didn't do too bad, but really and truly, thanks to each and every one of you, wherever it is that you're at. I want to wish you and your families all the best for the coming season. We still say in the Caribbean, Merry Christmas. I don't know what the hell you guys say in the States anymore. But I do know it's going to be the best of holidays if we make it by being a community that loves one another, man. So that's from me to you all. Janelle, all right. I'll harass you later and give you trouble as I always do, as I do with Scott and everyone else. Arturo, much love to you, brother. Rajiv, we'll pick up. Mike, I hope to see you in Trinidad so we could do a book signing and I get that commission.
Sir.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys, God bless and Merry Christmas to everyone as well.
Yeah, man, and many thanks to Simon for putting it all
Arturo.
together.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for being
Thank you.
Thanks,
You
guys.
it all, man.
All good.